Without fail, every single time I go out and take photographs with my mobile phone, I am constantly blown away by the quality of the files. But above everything else, when I am just using my mobile phone, I'm enjoying my photography now more than ever. So in this video, I thought I'd go through everything that went into this recent picture I took of the Prince of Wales Bridge with my iPhone. How I took the photograph, how it was edited in Lightroom Mobile on my iPad, and then the final print. So let's rewind and go through the complete mobile workflow. Okay, so first of all, the location. Now for this photograph I headed to the iconic Prince of Wales Bridge, which spans for 3.2 miles from the southwest of England across the River Severn to the southeast of Wales. Formerly named the Second Severn Crossing Bridge, I got the idea to head there having seen some photographs in a photography book by 𝗏𝗏𝗏. So I met up at a nearby cafe with my friend Anthony 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and we took the short half-mile or so walk to the underside of the bridge. Now as for the kit, I was using my iPhone 14 Pro Max and had this mounted on my tripod. I'd recently brought myself this phone mount from Joby, which is small, has a great hold on the phone because it's also MagSafe, and is quick and easy to set up. But with the windy conditions as they were, it didn't quite hold the phone still enough. So instead I put my phone into my trusty small rig cage. Being metal, this is a lot more robust and coped way better with the wind. Now I knew I wanted to do a long exposure, and before I've used the Lightroom mobile app for this, and it works great for long exposures up to a maximum of 5 seconds. But I wanted to do a 30-second exposure to really smooth the water out. So instead used one of the many apps I have that can do this called Even Longer. Now to shoot in RAW you do need to upgrade to the Pro version, but it's not expensive by any means and it does come with a lot more functions. So to take the 30-second long exposure with the phone securely on the tripod, using the Even Longer app I just adjusted the exposure time to 30 seconds. Then press the shutter button and after a 3-second countdown, it then takes the long exposure. Now this is an incredibly easy app to use, and the great thing is when you're doing these long exposures, you don't need to have any neutral density filters fitted at all. Now all of the editing I did on my iPad, and as the Even Longer app creates a folder on your phone where all the images are saved, first of all in Lightroom Mobile on my phone I created a new album. I called this one the Prince of Wales Bridge. Then I just add the photographs in by navigating to the Even Longer folder, tap on one image, then tap on Select All and Open. This folder now syncs with Lightroom on all of the devices that I have Lightroom installed. I'm going to edit the image on my iPad, so I'll open that up and go to Lightroom Mobile. And here's the Prince of Wales Bridge folder that is synced across. Now one of the things I really love about this mobile workflow is not having to use memory cards. Taking them out of the camera, inserting it into a card reader and importing the files. This all just happens automatically, and the great thing is because of the way that everything syncs, you can automatically have backups. So now I have the images on my iPad, let's go through the editing. Now as I pinch to zoom in on this, you can see straight away how a square crop will work really well and how it gives us 3 very distinct parts to the picture. We have the underside of the bridge, the sky, and also the muddy area with these fantastic channels and patterning. So I'll start off by going to the crop tool and straightening the horizon by clicking on the straighten tool. It was pretty much spot on anyway, and that's because I also used the spirit level in the Even Longer app when I was taking the photograph. I'll now go to the aspect and choose 1 by 1. I'll drag the corners in a little to get the composition that I want and position it so that this main structure of the bridge here is in the middle and the horizon line is as near as possible on that lower third. That's looking good, so I'll tap on Done. So because there are 3 very distinct areas of the picture, I can use masking to edit each of them individually. I'll start with the sky to bring back some of the detail there, so I'll tap on the masking and then tap on the plus icon to add a mask, and I'll choose Select Sky. I'll rename this mask to Sky. Now we can see from the red overlay that as well as the sky, it's also included a little bit of the underside of the bridge. so I need to remove or subtract that, so I'll tap on Subtract from Sky. Now, rather than using a brush to do that and potentially brushing away more than I want, I'm going to use Color Range. I'll drag this target here over the part of the bridge where we can see the red overlay, and straight away it removes the red overlay, meaning the underside of the bridge is no longer part of the sky mask. So I'll tap on Apply to accept that, and then jump to the light section and bring down the exposure a bit. I'll also go to the effects section and increase the dehaze to bring back a bit more detail in the sky. Now, doing that does tend to increase the saturation in the blues, and normally I might reduce this, but as this is going to be a black and white, I'll leave it. Okay, so that's the sky sorted. Next, I'll edit the underside of the bridge. So again, I'll use a mask, I'll tap on the plus icon, and I'll use a brush. I'll increase the size of the brush, adjust the hardness a little, and make sure the flow is at 100. Then I'll start brushing over the bridge, which covers it in the red overlay, meaning that area is being selected. I'll just reduce the size of the brush a bit and do the sides and this bit at the bottom. I'll now rename this mask to Bridge. Now you can see how the auto mask does a great job of restricting the overlay to the bridge, although it has spilled over a little bit here onto the sky, so I need to subtract that. So I'll tap on Subtract from Bridge and then choose Select Sky, and it's done. Now this blows me away. Check out the dynamic range in this file as I increase the exposure and then the shadows. The detail coming out of those dark shadow areas is incredible. Anyway, I'll adjust the exposure and the shadows to around about here. I'll also go to the effects section and add some clarity, which works brilliant on structures like this. I'll add a touch of texture, and then I'll go to the detail section and add some sharpening. Okay, that looks good for now. Now I'll just do a little bit to this bottom area. I'll add a mask and use a linear gradient. I'll drag upwards from the bottom so that the area selected is mainly the mud, but also spilling over onto the water. I'll rename this mask to Mud. I'll then increase the exposure a little, add a little bit of clarity, and also a bit of texture. Now let's just see how far we've come so far. Now obviously we gave this a 1:1 crop, but to see a before and after of the edits, just press down on the picture and release to see before, after, before, after. That's looking great. So now I want to make this a black and white, and to do that I want to use a preset, and the one I want is found in the Yours section and B&W. This one here called Punch. Now if I just click to apply that preset, it will overwrite everything that we've done so far, because presets, unlike profiles, come with all the edits still there. So we don't want that to happen. Instead, I'll tap up the top here and choose Edit in Photoshop. That then sends the file into Photoshop on my iPad and opens it up. Now in Photoshop, I do nothing other than tap Send to Lightroom. Doing this has now created a copy. If I tap on this one and then tap on the information icon, you can see this is the original edit. But then if I tap on the next one along, you can see this is a PSD. This is the copy. And if we look at the adjustments, you can see they are all at their default. So this is the copy where the edits were done and have been baked in. Now having this copy is a really good thing, because it means our original image that we've done all the edits on so far is nice and safe. So now we can apply the preset to this copy and have it applied on top of everything that we've done. So now I'll add the black and white Punch preset. I think I'll adjust the strength of it just a little bit. And finally, I'll add a vignette by going to the masking, tapping to add a mask, and choosing radial gradient. I'll press down and drag outwards, and then tap to invert the mask so that it affects the outside areas. And then I'll just reduce the exposure a touch. And we're done. So this is before and this is after. So now that I've finished editing on the iPad, which I literally could have done anywhere, I dive into Lightroom on my desktop computer so that I can look at the image on my color calibrated display. The image I've edited is in Lightroom because it automatically syncs across. So now I can check it out on my color calibrated display to make sure it looks perfect before I print it out. And yes, on my BenQ SW321, it looks great. I don't need to adjust anything. So to print it out, I just send it over to the Canon ProPrint layout software. And with this Permajet paper I'm using, I just choose the recommended media type, choose the correct paper profile, and press print. And this is the result. I only had A4 of this new paper, but I'm definitely going to send this one away to get it printed much larger. So keep an eye on my Instagram and Facebook because I'll share the result there. But the quality of this is so good. This could easily cope being A2. So there you go, the complete mobile workflow from going out with my mobile phone, taking the picture, editing it on my iPad and ending up with the final print. I am just loving this mobile workflow and how easy and accessible it makes everything. It's exciting times to be a photographer, it really is. But on that note, if you've enjoyed this, if you've got something from it, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, click on subscribe because as you know, that's just a great free way that you can support this channel. But for now, that's me, I'm done. I'm going off out with my phone. I'll see you in the next video.